Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Kevin Captain, Interim Director of Community Information for Volusia County Government, and your host today for our 8th panel discussion focusing on our community's COVID-19 response. Despite the fact that we're all still in the middle of a pandemic, there are a lot of really positive developments. The rate of new cases in Florida and right here in Volusia County remains relatively low. While more and more testing facilities are ramping up, the good news is that the percentage of people testing positive also is very low. Throughout the state, more than 1 million people have been tested, with a relatively low 5.4% of them testing positive. And in Volusia County, the positive test rate is even lower, just 3.3%. Meanwhile, the state and county are reopening for business. Most government facilities have reopened as well, and we are squarely in the recovery phase. Still, with all the positive indicators, that's only part of the story. We know that our residents and businesses and our nonprofits need help. Helping finding their financial footing, helping paying their rent or mortgage, and even help putting food on the table. Fortunately, there is help out there. Today, we're going to be talking about the grants and assistance programs that are available, where and how to apply, what you need to do to complete an application, and what you can expect from the review and approval process and how long that might take. So coming live from the Emergency Operations Center in Daytona Beach, today's panelists are Brad Harris, Business Manager for Volusia County Economic Development Division, Carmen Hall, Director of Community Assistance for Volusia County Government, Bob Watson, the Director of Volusia County Veteran Services, and Jean Rademacher, the Director of Community Programs for the United Way of Volusia Flagler Counties. Thank you guys so much for being here this morning, and more importantly, thank you for what you're all doing for our community to help it recover and get back on its feet. So for Facebook, we know that you might have some questions for our panel, so feel free to type in those questions, and as we get toward the end of the discussion, we'll entertain those questions. And with that, let's go ahead and let's get started. So Brad, like Carmen says, with rental and mortgage assistance, not every family is alike. So each case and each application has different components, but same thing with small business. You look at small business, anything less than 50, I mean, it's probably looking from apples to oranges, so to speak. So it's taken a little time on your end to process them and figure out what they need.
And it's so different, and I may take the time just to talk. There's been several programs to help small business. The Florida Emergency Bridge Loan Program was the first to come out, and the county participated in some of the review process. So we got a glimpse of some of the business needs, which were severe early on. But from then, you had the PPP program, the Paycheck Protection Program.
Mm-hmm.
We had the emergency, what is it? I can't think of the EIDL loan. I can't think of what the
all those acronyms.
But anyhow, we had that program come out, and then we've since had this small business reopening grant. We've actually had people who have called us back and said, we have received our PPP loan or EIDL loan, and said, we really don't need the small business reopening grant money. Give that to someone else.
Wow.
Very gracious about that.
Wow.
And sadly, we've had a few that have actually decided to close their doors, where they've applied, they've just decided they just can't make a go of it. So we see a real broad spectrum, just like in homes. Right. We see a broad spectrum of impact from the COVID-19 event. But people are very gracious, and we're just thrilled to be part of it.
That's great, and we certainly appreciate everyone's patience through it, because you have a whole, you guys have a whole team of people, multiple teams that are working on processing these applications. Because I imagine you're getting a pretty significant number apply every day.
Well, there's thousands that have applied so far, and I was just telling Bob, right now we're at a running rate between 50 and 100 a day still coming in.
Amazing.
So they continue to come in, and some people call and say, is there a deadline? Can we still apply? The answer is yes. We've had people from different parts of the county call and say, we've heard about this program, and understanding we're 2.5 weeks into it, were not aware. So we still have some marketing and advertising we can do to reach further into our community with these programs. But,
all the more reason to talk about it today and get the word out for those, because I think I heard there's up to some 12,000 different small business in Volusia County.
When you look at the under 20, that's the metric that I typically use. 90% of the businesses are under that size. So there are 12,000 or more actually that fit in that category.
And that's our economy.
Yep.
That's you think about jobs and what makes the county so unique is a lot of those small businesses. That's
And then we
excellent.
took that second cut, which was the 26 to 50. There's about 600 businesses in our county that could apply for that loan as well.
Wonderful.
May I make another point
Absolutely.
about the process? Our process is lengthy, okay? There's a bunch of reviews. There's the application, which, by the way, our partner ZGraph has really done a great job of creating this online process, which is pretty streamlined. I'm very impressed with what they did with such short notice. But the online application then goes to a initial review, and we've had partners from all of our municipalities join us in reviewing those applications for constituents within their municipalities. So this is not just a county effort. We've got all the municipalities participating in the review process. And then once that review process is done, those applications go to a county team, which is right here at the Operations Center right now.
I saw the room. There's a lot of people bustling in there, just really very, very busy. On the phone, it's yes.
So anyway, there's a lot of work being done at a county level audit, and once that audit is done, then it's processed for payment. So it's a long process, but thankfully there's a lot of people that have stepped up and are contributing from our municipalities as well as from our county staff. So
That's an
That's kind of
important
the
point,
process.
very important point, Brad, to show the immense cooperation that we're having with the 16 cities and municipalities in Volusia County, definitely. So, again, a common question a lot of people, I would imagine, have is, how long is this going to take? And so, Bob, when it comes to vets and veterans that maybe it's their first time to go to the Veteran Services Office for the county and to kind of sign up to look to see what they might be eligible for, what's the turnaround time look like for that if you have a new vet come in for services and seek services?
Well, if they're coming in to get into the healthcare system, that's done the same day.
Same day service is always good, right?
Process that we do is same day. Of course, it may take a week or longer for the VA to send them their letter giving them that authorization. If they're filing a claim with us, a compensation or pension claim, it totally depends on how many disabilities we're talking about, because they have to get proof of these disabilities to file the claim. So I would say that process would normally take somewhere between 3 to 6 months to get it from start to finish. A pension claim, which is for a veteran who served during a wartime period or surviving spouse of a veteran, that process would normally take somewhere between 90 days and probably 180 days to get it processed. We get a lot of help from the Congressman Waltz's office, for instance. They step in and help us if we got someone that's elderly or on hospice or very sick. They can help us expedite those claims. So we got a lot of partners helping us in the community also. And it's more than just the VA benefits. There's a lot of benefits locally for veterans as well as state benefits. So I would encourage any veteran or surviving spouse, if they've never sat down with one of our counselors, to call, get an appointment, come in and sit down with someone, and let us determine what potential benefits might be available for them. That's the only way they're going to know for sure.
They're only going to know unless they come and they make that
Exactly.
visit, and you mentioned Congressman Waltz. I heard him this morning too. I mean, just a very pro-veteran
Yes.
congressman, and definitely good to see that we're providing those services as much as possible. And so if they are a new vet, and you said it might take, let's say, 3 to 6 months on the pension program, just like, Carmen and Brad's team, I would imagine you're communicating with those applicants, those vets, to let them know where they're at in the queue with the process.
Yes, absolutely. The VA responds to them rather quickly. They let them know when they receive their claim.
Oh,
They let them know as the claim advances. One thing I would like to point out, it's very important, is that everything is a free service. If someone wants to charge them for doing any of these applications, they need to walk away from them and come see us, because it's intended to be free service.
That's a good point, Bob. If they're asked for money, it's not a bona fide service, right?
Exactly.
all seen signs like these, occupying our otherwise vacant streets. The COVID-19 pandemic has drastically altered our lives. The hashtags have consumed what we read, what we watch. Self-isolation, social distancing, and stay-at-home policies have kept families closer to home and away from our county's most popular destinations. But our innovative staff has gone to great lengths to engage our community, to in fact, stay home together.
I would like to introduce you to our very prominent host, Mr. Frederick DeBerry. Mr. DeBerry was the ninth of 13 children.
Brown eyes, brown hair.
We want to do these virtual classrooms because we feel like it's important to still get our message out there. We know everybody's observing social distancing as they're supposed to, but the message is still there, and we feel like it is important for us to still continue with education.
So we have our beautiful carrots here. So a carrot is a great example of a taproot.
When everything was coming into light that there might be a possibility that we would close, and I had seen a couple of other live feeds that were already starting, and I thought, wow, that would be a really good idea. And so I posed the question to our managers, and they thought, yeah, great. And so every day I've just been kind of on the fly, just kind of thinking, all right, let's do this week. And it's been really amazing. Being able to share everything and get it out there. Last week we had, I think, 45,000 people that actually reached our post, which was amazing. So that was good, yeah.
It's important during this time of social distancing that we still reach our patronage, and we don't want anyone to feel isolated. And it's really important to keep literacy skills consistent and going. But we also hope that the parents are engaging with their child during story time as well. It's an important bonding time, and it's important for parents to kind of develop the skills where they could actually do story time on their own, because the more you talk and speak and sing and play with your child, the more vocabulary they build and the better they'll be doing school.
Three in the bed and the little one said, roll over, let's roll over.
He's got round eyes, and even the venomous snakes have round eyes. But look,
for me to be able to still go to them live and for them to know that, you know, we're still here and we're still taking care of the animals and we still love our community enough that we want to get to them and be able to educate. And, you know, I've built up a rapport with, I've been doing summer camp for 11 years. We have school groups that come every year. I mean, we have a group that have been coming from Tallulah Falls for, you know, the last 7 or 8 years, and so it's devastating that they're not coming, you know, this year. And so for me to be able to still be able to get out there and educate people, it's great.
So we're going to use green, white, and blue. And now is when I would have my paintbrush, but since I don't, sorry about that.
Technology is amazing like that. It has really afforded everybody a way to keep in contact, do that physical social distancing, but maintain that feeling of community and family and home and some familiarity, things that are still familiar to everybody.
And I hope that we're making them feel a little bit calmer and kind of bringing their happy place to them, even though they can't come to us.
this is the way we stomp our feet, stomp our feet, stomp our feet. This is the way we stomp our feet.
I love it, and I try and make it fun, you know, because that's what, you know, you don't want to sit there and just, ooh, but you know, I want to give them some cool information. So I hope I'm entertaining.
And Jean, you know, the same question for nonprofits. How are they being reviewed and approved, and what's that time frame look like?
It's shorter than the small business one. We had the advantage. CGRAPH also did the application for that, so we had the advantage of seeing what went through on that one, and so it's a bit shorter. We're accepting the grants in; they're being reviewed, and then at that point, when all the reviews get through, we should be cutting some checks out soon.
Well, good. Good.
So it's a little bit shorter. They're familiar with W-9s, most nonprofits, so.
Well, and
Kevin, and the time frame is, and this is a dangerous question because if the application.
But it's a common one, right?
If the application is filled out complete with all the documents uploaded, that is a very quick process. That's days. I think the first checks, we opened the program on the 14th. I think the first checks were going out within 9 or 10 working days. It was fairly quick.
Wow.
But those that have other issues are iterations of communication and can go on, 1 to 2 weeks longer to get through the review process.
I saw yesterday, George Rechtenwald, our county manager, he had a bin of, it was a USPS bin filled with those business checks. Couple hundred of them.
Yep.
And it looked pretty heavy because he was flexing his muscles a little bit, and he was walking down to the mailroom with them. So what a wonderful thing that we're able to offer, and thanks to our county council. Absolutely. So this is all really great information and good news amid the pandemic. So as we wrap up, let's go around and if you could just kind of highlight again just some of the resources that are available. Brad, as businesses open up, things have certainly changed. The way we do business is certainly going to change. And what other resources, besides the small business grant, what are the other resources that Volusia County's Division of Economic Development, what can they offer?
Well, like we have always offered, we can be an ombudsman for anyone who's trying to start a business or is in a situation where they need assistance. Ombudsman meaning that we can direct them to other resources like the Small Business Development Center, to link them with resources like CareerSource. So we can be a clearinghouse for directing them to the proper location, but we can also provide direct assistance ourselves through counseling, through meetings, however we can do that. But in terms of formal programs right now, it's really the focus is the grant program. That's really where our energy is going to be spent. But we can be a clearinghouse for any of those kinds of inquiries from them. I know there's other programs on the horizon we're looking at, helping the home-based businesses. We're already dealing with the not-for-profit businesses. So our eye is on the needs of the community. We continue to solicit information from our businesses and from our partners to try to understand how we can help. I know there's discussions also about the PPE, the personal protective equipment, and how we might help there as well. And there's programs being developed. So there's a lot of needs. We understand they're very different depending on the business. Some businesses have found new opportunities through this, like restaurants who are doing takeout service that never did it and plan to continue that once they open their doors. There are others in the manufacturing realm who have taken on PPE as a new product line. And in our Economic Development Quarterly that went out a couple weeks ago, we highlighted 7 of those businesses that have just immediately jumped in and begun helping people with hand sanitizers, masks, shields, some of the things you mentioned, Kevin, that people will now integrate into their businesses as they reopen for safety reasons. So.
They always say that change is hard because we overestimate what we think we might lose and we underestimate what we think we might gain. What a great example of some of the businesses that have now had to reinvent themselves, and we're reinventing ourselves occupationally. And despite the adversity of a pandemic, look at the opportunity that has just presented itself for these new businesses. And it's right here in Volusia County. Yep. That's excellent. So, Carmen, Community Assistance also has, I know, many other programs. Your team is always busy, certainly year-round. And with school out, you're participating in a summer food program as well for kids and teens. Tell us about that.
So as of Monday, we expanded the number of sites that we have available for our summer food program. And so currently we have 54 sites countywide.
54 sites.
Yes. And so at these sites, there's 2 different delivery models. One is a grab and go model, meaning that the families would stay in their cars and staff would actually bring the meals out to the car. And that could be breakfast and lunch. It depends on the site. And then we also have sites where children would actually go to the site and stay there to eat the meal, also breakfast and lunch. And the reasoning for that is a lot of these sites have other programming going on. It could be one of our summer camp sites, or it could be a private vendor that has a summer food program in conjunction with a summer camp site. But if you're interested in finding a site near you, you can go to summerbreakspot.com and you can find the closest locations to your home that you could go and find breakfast and lunch for your children.
Summerbreakspot.com. What if somebody, a business, we're talking about reinventing businesses and offering help. What if somebody wants to become a site? A food site, can they do that?
Yes, so traditionally we identify sites before the summertime actually starts. However, we
Well, sure, there's planning, right?
Yes, but we can add sites if there is a need in that area. So that is something, if somebody is interested, they could actually email us at Community Assistance. So the email address, is communityassistance@volusia.org if they are interested, and we can get that to the proper people and see, because we have to make sure that there aren't other sites within a certain geographical area, and if there aren't, it could be eligible to provide summer food.
Okay, so you try to make sure that they're equally dispersed and you don't have, duplicity right on the same block. Yeah, that would make sense. Okay.
Right.
Well, thanks, Carmen. And Jean, the United Way, we know they offer a ton of resources for individuals and nonprofits for the community. What else is out there for people to know about with the United Way?
Well, our community impact partners are still going. Most of them were able to still provide services during the pandemic, and so that's good. One of our hardest hit programs is an internal program, VITA, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, because most of the volunteers and the places where we had VITA sites were public areas, and in the risk category for the volunteers, we had to shut down all of our sites. But we're hoping that we can get up and running before July 15th, which is the tax deadline. We are working with the Homeless Coalition. We're working with HUM and the Neighborhood Center for food distribution and the county to make sure that food pantries have enough stocked and are able to help the community there. We've got our emergency food and shelter program through the state and the feds, and we just got our first payments there. So those are going to be going out to the community to help with that, and a lot of different things.
It sounds like you are super busy.
We're very busy.
But what great synergy. And, again, just to look positively at this world we're living in right now, what great relationships that United Way and nonprofits and all our agencies in Volusia County are strengthening those relationships and being able to get out there and offer those services.
And also understanding that we don't have to be in an office to do that. We all went remote March 16th, and we figured we would have a lot of problems with that. But it's gone very well, and I think a lot of that's going to continue. So we've learned a lot.
I bet, and we continue to. So yeah, we keep looking positively towards it. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being on the panel this morning to talk about the great assistance that's available here in Volusia County. We hope that once we get through the pandemic and we go through our new normal, that we continue to offer these services, and it's great for the public to know. If I could just go around and ask the website again, just because that's probably the quickest and easiest way, if we could kind of hammer that for our guests, and we'll close the panel. Brad?
So VolusiaBusinessResources.com. That's the website to go to for applying for the Small Business Reopening Grant. It's also the place to find information about disaster relief, resources in our communities, because it is a common link for all municipalities who you can go there and go to the city links and municipal links to find what resources they have for businesses. So VolusiaBusinessResources.com, that's the place to go for application. That's the place to go for information about business in Volusia County.
So it's a one-stop shop web page for businesses.
Correct.
Excellent. Bob?
I'd just like to point out that we have 4 offices spread around the county for people. We have one on Canal Street in New Smyrna. We have one in Daytona on Holzenbach. Of course, in DeLand, we're at the TCK building there on Indiana Avenue, and then on Harley Strickland Boulevard in Orange City. Phone numbers for making appointments, 386-740-5102, or they can call 386-254-4646 make an appointment, come see us, and let's see what we can do for you.
That's wonderful. Thanks, Bob. And Carmen, for community assistance.
So for community assistance, we always refer everybody to the main county webpage at volusia.org, and your team does a good job with posting links to our programs for COVID-19 rental and mortgage. And then, of course, you can always go to community assistance to find more information on summer food, or we actually have a couple other programs I would like to discuss.
By all means, hey, that's why we're here. Let's get the word out.
So we also are still accepting applications for our summer camp scholarship program. So that is for various sites. We have summer camp scholarships for county-run camps, but also for privately run camps throughout the county and with some cities that we partner with. So if anybody has children that are between the ages of 5 and 12 and entering 1st through 6th grade, they could be eligible for a scholarship. So you can also go to our website at volusia.org to find more information out about that scholarship program. And then we also have our Volusia.
And there's more.
Yeah, there's more. Our Volusia County Summer Camp Program. We started accepting applications yesterday through our Parks and Recreation Division. However, we still have a few spots available at 2 specific campsites. One is at Taylor Middle High School in Pearson. There are spots available. And then also at Turry T. Small Elementary in Daytona Beach. So if someone is interested in applying for summer camp through the county, it's $65 per week with a $15 registration fee. And if you're eligible, you might be able to receive a scholarship to attend these camps. But you would need to email summercamp@volusia.org for information on that program.
And those are probably going quick, right? Because of the way
Yes.
now we have to consider physical distancing and
Exactly.
other things like that too.
Yes, most of the spots filled up very quickly yesterday, but at these 2 sites, there are still some available
That's
spots.
wonderful. That's
Okay.
wonderful. Thanks, Carmen.
right,
Thanks so much. Jean, anything more for United Way? I'm sure there is, right?
If you go to United Way, Volusia Flagler County, VFC.org, again, it's a spot where you can hit 211 Live and find out about all the other programs that we're having. There's just a lot of different information on there to help. You can get different resources. We're tied to your website there with the businesses. That's where you go for the nonprofit grants. We've got a lot of different programs out there, and we've been working with the county and all the different organizations trying to just meet the needs of the community. And everyone's been doing a great job pulling together and getting what is needed out there.
That's great. Thanks, Jean. And I want to thank all of our panelists today for being here and sharing the information that we can provide for our residents and citizens of Volusia County, not just during this pandemic, but year round. So it's wonderful. Your service and dedication to ensuring Volusia County residents receive the assistance that they need is truly appreciated. With that, we'll close today's panel. As we close, help your neighbor, take care, and stay safe.
Stay connected with the latest Volusia County news, events, and updates on our social media channels. Like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Catch up with previous stories on YouTube, or just head over to our website, volusia.org.